Neal Brown's only been fired for like a couple hours, and there's already big time reports of really hot names, one specific one to interview for the West Virginia coaching position. We're going to talk about that on this episode of Locked On West Virginia.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Welcome in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul, your host, and this is another edition of Locked On West Virginia, brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and get started with the 150 in bonus bets. That's if you win that first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. Make sure you go there to get started. So I thought I could rest for a little bit. News is traveling quick. Man, breaking news right here on X. As Mike Ostie reports, Andy Kotelnicki will interview for the West Virginia coaching job. Just incredibly quick. Couldn't believe this has come up so damn quick. But here we are. Let me look up exactly what he said here. All right. So let me do. All right. Source: Penn State offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki expects to interview for the now open WVU head coach position. So this sounds like it's coming possibly from the Kotelnicki agent side of things. And in my opinion, it could be one of two things. He's either our savior or he wants more money at Penn State, right? It's not uncommon for coaches to do this when they're in a position where they've done well somewhere. Obviously, Penn State's probably going to be in the playoff. The offense has been incredibly diverse, incredibly unique with Tyler Warren and all they've done at tight end this year. Just what I like about Andy Kotelnicki is they found a mismatch that they have in every game, which is an elite tight end. He lined him up at quarterback. He lined him up at running back. He lined him up at receiver and tight end, and made him he's going to win the Mackey Award. And he's the guy that when we played him didn't even do anything. And over the course of a year, Kotelnicki figured out, hey, I can do this, this, and this with him. He's an elite offensive mind. Most would say the best in the country. What he did at Kansas, he was a part of the Kansas rebuild. And so if you ever had any doubt into his ability, and obviously Leipold has a lot to do with that too there. Hey, look, that was an incredible job they did at Kansas, rebuilding the worst Power 4 job in America, Power 5 at that time. And it's going to be interesting to say the least if he's the one that gets the job. Because he of all the names, he's probably the one that I would feel safest about outside of like Nick Saban or, maybe a Garrett Riley or an established Power 5 coach that, name one. Obviously Saban is like pie in the sky. And we'll talk about that because he is being mentioned. But Kotelnicki, just to give you a little background on Andy Kotelnicki, I had it pulled up, but I accidentally deleted it. So let me pull it back up here again. Yep, boom. Okay. He's 43 years old, by the way, so he's still really young. Right in that Neal Brown age category. He's not been a head coach, but he played he was born in Minnesota, played at University of Wisconsin River Falls. And then he just kind of began, right after that, he began coaching at River Falls, where he was an assistant at Western Illinois. Then he returned to University of Wisconsin River Falls as their offensive coordinator. In 2013, he was hired by Division II University of Mary, coached there for 2 years. Then he was hired by Leipold at Wisconsin Whitewater, where they absolutely dominated for a really long time together at Wisconsin Whitewater. Then they went to Buffalo. They resurrected a Buffalo program that was just amazing what they did there. In 2021, he was hired as the offensive coordinator along with Lance Leipold to Kansas. and added option elements to an offense, guys, that was just really stagnant in years past. Nobody really worried about him. He made Jalen Daniels look like a superstar, and he was a Heisman contender coming into this year, but he took the Penn State job, obviously. So pretty insane. And so last year he took the Penn State job and has killed it there. So this is a guy that would be an incredible get for us. We could hope for a lot worse than Andy Kotelnicki. Everywhere he's gone, he's been successful. And the fact that he's was a part of that Kansas rebuild, to me, says more than anything. I mean, you look at what he doesn't even have his kind of quarterback. Drew Aller, I mean, you've got a 5-star guy. You can't just bench him because you like mobile guys. And if you've seen against us, Drew Aller used his legs quite a bit. But for me, I think what they did well for me was just the way they used motion and shifting. They shift more than anybody to get their guys open and you in mismatches and things like that. So not a defensive head coach by any measure, but I think you could do a lot worse. Don't know how he is as a recruiter yet. Don't know how he is as a CEO of a program. I don't know if he would hire an offensive coordinator. Most guys like him don't. And to be honest, I would want him to call the plays because he's that good. I don't think there's many that can match him at this point right now in college football. His offense is like the new spread, the new air raid, right? It's this option-oriented spread attack, sort of like Rich Rod's, except it's a more pass-heavy one. It's really interesting, man. I really love that. So he's going to be an interesting person to watch and name to watch as we move forward. But, yeah, so he's expected to interview for the West Virginia head coaching job, which would be an incredible just turnaround for us. Would he be the coach in the bowl game? I doubt it. Is there going to be a bowl game? I don't know. Seems like the kids, I seen Jaheim White posted something about that earlier. So we'll see. Somebody in the chat said that Penn State ran the score up on Maryland, but in this day and age, you kind of have to because you're fighting for playoff spots. So Penn State, I think a lot of people would say they weren't sure if they were going to get in, because of their resume. They haven't beaten a whole bunch of high-level teams. The only good team they lost to Michigan. So it's kind of not looking good for them in some people's eyes. But it looks like with that, how everything worked out in the Big Ten with Ohio State losing, and looks like they have a better chance to get in now. But, yeah. So up next on Locked On West Virginia, guys, not only Andy Kotelnicki being named, we've got Jimbo, we've got Saban, we've got all these names being thrown out there for this job. I'm going to read you an article that has them all on there and kind of sift through this, guys, and tell you who's who, what's what, and what should you believe, because there's going to be a lot of misinformation out this time of year. Stick around on this episode of Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by FanDuel. Guys, get ready to tackle NFL actions. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. That's if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and that's all in one easy place. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats. You can look at live play-by-play, and there's a lot more. All you have to do is just look on the same page you place your bets. That's at FanDuel.com. Get started with that $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. All right, guys, and this is going to be a situation where news is breaking constantly. Something could happen while I'm on here, seriously, because this job just came open. And although popular opinion, people think that this job is we're down right now, but it's not a bad job. The right person could come in there and dominate the Big 12 in this job. I really believe that. I think we have the fan support. We have the facilities. We have everything we need. And if a guy comes in and wins just 1 year even, he'll have the money and everything he needs for the most part, and get donors on board. That's my belief. Maybe I'm delusional, but that's how I feel. So, all right. So I was looking at an article here on USA Today. They just posted this at 6:04, so an hour and a half ago. 7 coaching candidates for West Virginia football, and I'll go through them in order on here. Number one on the list is Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher was fired midseason at Texas A&M a season ago, but he's from Clarksville, West Virginia, maybe looking to get back into football coaching. If so, returning home to West Virginia could be an option. The 59-year-old former coach finished 45-25 with the Aggies, a job he took after seeing tremendous success at Florida State. Fisher won the 2013 national championship, leading the Seminoles to an undefeated season as quarterback Jameis Winston won the Heisman Trophy. Texas A&M paid a record-breaking $77 million buyout to Fisher to fire him in 2023. So there's a chance he's on a remote island and may never return to the college ranks, but he's worth a call for the Mountaineers. I think you guys know how I feel about Jimbo. He went 2 straight years without winning a road game there, with all the amenities, all the money. He had an Ohio State budget, 20, 30 million he could have spent if he really needed to. He was 26-21 versus SEC teams with the very best roster. Most people would have won with his roster. He didn't. I don't know why. I could be dead wrong, and maybe it was just a bad situation there. But that scares me away, especially the 2 years straight with no road win. You go 700 and something days without one road win. That's incredible. How do you do that? Not even Neal Brown managed that. So I'm scared of Jimbo because of how bad he was. He lost to an FCS team one of the last 2 years. He was 6-12 versus Power 4 teams his last 18 games. 6-12. At Texas A&M, where you had the best of everything, that's not good enough. So that's my thoughts. Now, if he gets the job, maybe he does a good job. I mean, I can buy in. He's just got to win. I would have my major doubts, though. Jamie Chadwell, Liberty's head coach. Chadwell has seen plenty of success across his 2 head coaching tenures. Currently resides at Liberty, which neighbors West Virginia and Lynchburg, Virginia. That's true. Chadwell has a 21-4 record at Liberty, which is incredible, leading the Flames to a 13-1 record, a Fiesta Bowl appearance in 2023. And he's 8-3 this year. He took the Liberty job after going 39-22 at Coastal Carolina, which was just a really hard job there in Myrtle Beach, through 4 seasons, and is a proven commodity in the region. And not to mention his last 3 seasons there, he lost like very few games. Once he turned it around, they won like 11 games every year, or 10, similar to Brown, actually. Barry Odom is a name that gets floated out there. Odom has UNLV in the college football playoff contention. Should it be able to upset Boise State in the Mountain West Championship game on Saturday? The Rebels have gotten to this point despite starting quarterback Matthew Schluka abruptly leaving the team in September. The former Missouri coach also crossed paths with West Virginia Athletic Director Ren Baker at Missouri, where Odom spent 4 seasons as the head coach from 16-19. Odom has a 19-7 record in 2 seasons with the Rebels and should be among the top names in the 2024 coaching carousel after reviving a once struggling UNLV program. Once again, not a big fan of that hire at all because he was middling at Missouri, a place that wants to win, has a lot of support in football. I would consider it comparable to the West Virginia job. I think that's fair. Is it a better job? Yes, because it's in the SEC. When he was there, was it? No. So I don't know. It's one of those things. This is one that I hate. Shannon Dawson, Miami offensive coordinator. I don't even want to read this one. Too much Dana for me in this one. But obviously they've been good on offense there. I'm not a fan of that offense. No offense like Dana runs ever has a defense behind it. So I hate all these so far. Rich Rodriguez, Jacksonville State. As if Dawson wasn't enough of a blast from the past, West Virginia could call Rodriguez, who led West Virginia to 4 Big East championships from 01 to 07, and left to coach Michigan, where he famously failed with the Wolverines, but has since found success at Jacksonville State. Also won a Pac-12 championship with Arizona before failing there, which recently made the move. Jacksonville State recently made the move to Division One. He's 26-10 with the Gamecocks and has 17-8 since they moved to FBS in Conference USA. And then he won 8 straight games this year to win the conference after starting 0-3. Just really an incredible coaching job. I mean, you start 0-3, your back's against it. And to go 8-0 down the stretch is really incredible. And it's not like they didn't beat nobody. They beat Liberty. They beat really good teams down the stretch. So Jason Candle's an interesting name. He's been in Toledo for a while now, where he served as the Rockets head coach in 2016. However, the successful Matt coach could be looking for his move in 24 now. He's 72-40 in 9 seasons with Toledo. They finished with 7-5 in 2024 after 9-5 and 11-3 finishes in 22 and 23 respectively. So this, to me, this is a situation where guys like Candle seem to be developers of talent. You know, these guys, you give them 3 or 4 years to develop talent, and they put out really good products once they get it rolling. Same thing with Neal Brown, I think. In this portal era, you got to have somebody that can get a team to play fast, like Near DeVries has done with our West Virginia basketball team. Inside of 6 games, those guys look like they've been playing together for 2 years. You got to have a coach that can do something like that in football now, in my opinion. I don't know how you do it, but that's, you know. And then the reason for this video, Andy Kotelnicki, Penn State's offensive coordinator. Kotelnicki has led Penn State's offense for only a season, but his stock is rising. Potentially make a head coaching move in 2024 offseason. Broke away from Kansas coach Leopold after 2023, breaking up to 2 coaches for the first time in his career, and has paid, and the pair have been together since 2013, 2014 with Wisconsin Whitewater. Obviously, we know what he's done, and is not rumored. Mike Ossie just reported he will be interviewing or expects to interview for the West Virginia job at some point. The only way that wouldn't happen, guys, is, in my opinion, is if a better coach comes along. So Nick Saban is the next coach I'm going to mention, the greatest of all time. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. I don't. But you had to make the call, right? Obviously, Ren Baker and Nick Saban have been friendly. They've been seen at events together. Pat McAfee is the connection. And you at least got to make the call. And, you know, I mean, if I'm Ren Baker, this is what I do. I go to all the donors, and I go to King Kendrick, and I say, hey, look, what can we guarantee Nick Saban? Because we're going to have an incredible package, at least enough to win the Big 12 and possibly go beyond that, right? So I think you got to say something along the lines of, look, Nick, we'll guarantee your salary at $8 or $10 million for 3 years, and we're going to make sure you have $10 million in NIL, and the Big 12 is amazing over the course of 3. I think, seriously, I think that's what it would take. You're going to have some kind of incredible package put together ahead of time, and you're going to have to get a guy like Kendrick to give you $20 or $30 million for that to happen. Otherwise, he'd be walking into a wood chipper. Nick Saban walking into Morgantown with no players isn't going to work. You know, I mean, would he get players? Absolutely. I think he would get a lot of transfers just based off his name alone. But you got to have money, man. You got to have money. So he's got to have that support, right? Like, he's not just going to come and just kind of just throw caution to the wind and say, yeah, I'm Nick Saban, and they'll come. Like, you've got to have a plan in place. So obviously, if he's willing to come back and coach for 3-4 years, I would say no longer than 4 at the most, but probably 3 with a succession plan would be good. You know, you do it. You do it. You don't ask questions. You just sign the contract. You give him what he wants within reason, and you make sure you have the NIL. Like, if you got a shot to get Nick Saban, you go to every donor and say, I'll never ask for another favor. Let's make sure we hit this number, and this number, and go to him with it. Hey, look, we've got 10 to 15 million in NIL for this year, which is like, below what even Ohio State or anything would have. And you're gonna get whatever you want on your contract, obviously. Maybe he gives you a discount, I don't know. But that's the thought process. Maybe he would only want to be paid at the top of the Big 12, but I doubt it. So it's pie in the sky. It's probably not going to happen. I'm just throwing out there this is what would have to happen if you want a Nick Saban. You're going to have to come with some real packages here. You're going to have some real money and some real donor support and a contract that is at the top of the league, at the very least, probably at the top of the country. Like a guy like Signetti just got $8 million a year from Indiana. You're going to have to go beyond that at least. So Nick Saban, it's an ego thing with coaches, unless he just gives you the discount. And if that's public, then people will accept that. Interesting time to be a Mountaineer fan, and it's an interesting time to be a content creator. If you're new around here, please subscribe to Locked On West Virginia. 500 in here right now watching, which I appreciate. Hit that like button for me, guys. Thank you, D1 Hall, from over on X. It's showing me people in X here, so I don't know what's changed, but I'm getting X tweets on here now, or comments, which is kind of cool. Do me a favor, guys, though. Subscribe here for me. We're really close to 3,000. I'm going to be covering this 7 days a week, most likely. Like any update, I'm going on. I'm not going to let this opportunity pass me by. I'm a workaholic when it comes to this stuff. So I will be on top of every update that I'm aware of as long as I'm awake. And if you guys are as obsessed with this search as I am and the basketball team, the women's team, I'll cover every single bit of it, and I won't leave nothing out. Nothing. I promise. If you stick with me, put your faith in me, I will not lie to you. I will report the facts as they are. And if I'm fantasizing like I wasn't just about Nick Saban, I promise I'll tell you that too. I'm a fan first, reporter second. Remember that. And I love you guys. That's really all I got. Let me go to break really quick, and we'll put a bow on this episode. So up next on Locked On West Virginia, we'll put a bow on it. And this episode is brought to you by Game Time, guys. That's right, Game Time filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to. You don't want to waste time wasting through thousands and thousands of tickets. Make sure you check out that panoramic view in the app before you buy so you can see if your seat is up to your standard. There is a super deal involved. Somebody just knocked on my door. Sorry, guys. Curation makes it easier to save on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Toggle this feature on. The total will be upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. That's right. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app and create an account using Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create the account, redeem the code, and save $20 off. And then download the Game Time app and ask yourself, what time is it? It's game time. All right, guys. Thank you guys for sticking with me through that ad read. That startled me when somebody knocked on my door. Like, as I'm looking at you, my door is just off to my left, and they just, it's my buddy. He just knocked and opened and startled me. Thank you guys, man. I appreciate y'all so much. Andy Kotelnicki will be interviewing for this job. Don't know how, don't know when, but Mike Ostie's the guy. He's the one I first saw report it. I'm sure others have. But, obviously not. It's just a thumbnail, WVU fan. Don't read in it too far. All right, guys. That's all I got for this one. Keep coming back, and I promise you guys we'll have more news later. Until then, I'm going to eat some Wendy's, and this episode is over, and I'm out.